Hello, everyone, and welcome to another in a series of Exadel webinars. For this webinar, we're actually going to be presenting it with one of our partners, Aepona. We have someone from Aepona here to talk a little about the company. This webinar itself is an outgrowth of an announcement we made recently with Aepona to try and leverage their API services by making it easier to use these API services in our mobile development platform, Tiggzi. So this is something that we've demoed before, and so we would like to just show you a hands-on example of it at work instead of talking about it theoretically. So the main presenter for the demo part will be one of our engineers, Andrei Glazunov. He's a senior developer at Exadel. But before he gets into his demo, we'll also have some other presentations from Michael Crossie from Aepona and David Schoenbach from Exadel to talk about Exadel and Tigy. So a few housekeeping details before we move further. This is being recorded. The recording will be available in about a day or maybe even less. And everyone who registers for this webinar will receive a notice. We also once the recording is available, we also put it up on a YouTube channel that we maintain. So there will be many ways to get access to this recording afterwards. And another thing to keep in mind is that at the end of this, there will be some Q&A, and you can actually start posting questions and comments in the lower right corner of your screen as we go along, or you can wait till the actual Q&A phase. And another thing to keep in mind is that at the end, we'll have a contact slide so that say there's a question that doesn't occur to you till after the webinar. Don't worry. The whole point of this is to communicate with people. So if you note down the contact info or just send an email to the webinar organizing email address, we'll get back to you with answers to your questions. So let's move on. Let's get going here. Here, the plan for today is simple. We'll have just a bit about Aepona presented by Michael. We'll have a bit about Exadel and Tigy presented by David, and then we'll get right down into the live demo of Tigy on your screen using the Aepona API for some in-app billing examples. And then we'll try and leave some time, maybe about 5 to 10 minutes at the end for Q&A. So without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Michael. Michael?
Okay, sorry about that delay. Hi, this is Michael Crossie from Aona. Sorry about the slight delay there. So I'm just going to say a few words about Aepona. We are essentially a platform provider, a software platform provider to a range of different service providers, both network operators, mobile operators, as well as cloud service providers. And you can see some of the customers that we serve at the bottom of the slide. We're a privately held company headquartered in the UK, in Belfast. We've got a US presence in Denver, Colorado, and we've also got other facilities around the world, about 300 plus employees. Essentially we're a software platform provider that allows service providers to expose, manage, and monetize their core network capabilities as web services-based APIs. And this helps developers to quickly and easily add new features and payment methods to their applications. The software platform that we offer is called the API Monetization Platform. You'll see in the top right-hand corner of the slide there are some of the key capabilities of that solution. I don't intend to go through those in detail today, but the main components are our payments and settlement engine, the Agile Service Enablement module, which allows the rapid creation and launch of new API services, and the Partner Management Engine, which manages the whole onboarding and partner provisioning process, as well as the developer portal. So if we move to the next slide, essentially what the Aepona platform enables is service providers to unlock their network capabilities and to make those capabilities available to a wide variety of enterprise, web, and mobile applications. And when we talk about service provider capabilities, there are many different categories of capabilities in their domain. They have the network capabilities such as communications, voice communications, messaging, video, and also the ability to control the network by controlling the quality of service, by controlling the bandwidth that's available. These are network capabilities that can be made available to third-party applications. They also have a range of commercial capabilities. That's going to be the focus of the demonstration today, specifically payments and in-application payments, but also other things like refunds, authentication, and settlement, or other network or other capabilities that service providers have in their networks. Then there's the contextual and informational capabilities. In the contextual domain, we have things like location, presence, data connection profile, and device type, and that provides applications the ability to make intelligent decisions, for example, on how to serve content or how to perhaps send an offer to a subscriber. And then there's the informational assets, things like subscriber profile, whether the subscriber has given their consent, identity management, and the tariff information that comes from the profile databases. Those are informational assets. So collectively, these are very valuable capabilities that can be exposed through the service provider using the Aepona platform. That could be a network operator, or it could be a cloud-based service provider. Regardless of the multiple, the different devices that people use, whether it's a mobile device or a PC or a tablet, or even an enterprise server for enterprise applications, the APIs can be used in a device agnostic way across multiple OS platforms and multiple development environments. And I've given some examples of the types of application and the types of partner that service providers can offer these web services APIs towards. So if we move to the next slide, I'll just give you some examples of application categories that can benefit from these network APIs. So one of the things we're going to be focusing on today is in-application purchases. So clearly for the gaming category, that gives the developer, gaming provider, the ability to offer virtual products within games, new levels or new new features or new weapons and so on. It allows them to be paid for via the user's mobile bill. And so there are capabilities in the network like in-application payment, authorization of consent, and identity that can be used for that transaction. In the area of mobile marketing, one of the key use cases there is targeted, contextually relevant coupon delivery. And for this, the mobile marketing company can use zonal presence notifications, can use subscriber profile, can use consent, and can use messaging to actually deliver the coupon. And so that we think that's a very interesting area for network APIs. Then there's the area of video content delivery. We're starting to see use cases around the delivery of enhanced or premium service delivery, where the user may request higher quality of service and may be prepared to pay a premium for that higher quality of service for a defined period. And so that brings network capabilities into play, like the QoS API itself, but also other things like the data connection profile, device capability, and of course payment to process the premium transaction. And then the last example I have here is in the enterprise domain. Clearly there are many different enterprise categories that I could have had in this chart here, but if you take enterprise collaboration as one example, then one of the key use cases is the ability to set up instant communications and instant conferencing from within an enterprise collaboration application. So that would be, for example, within Salesforce.com to be able to set up instant conference calls with contacts within Salesforce.com without having to go and set up an external conference bridge. So it really integrates communications into the application. And so that would use APIs like location, presence, and messaging to determine the status of the users that you want to invite to the call, and then of course the click-to-call or the click-to-conference API itself to establish and tear down the call. So those are just some examples. There are many others, and as I said, today is really about the in-application payment APIs and the associated authorization and consent capabilities. So with that, I'll hand back to Exadel for the demo itself.
Thanks, Michael. We actually still have to do a very brief description of Exadel, so hang on. David, I'm handing it over to David Schoenbach, and he promises to get quickly to the meat of the whole webinar.
Absolutely. Thank you, Michael. So briefly, Exadel is a professional services company focused on custom development for major companies, those shown here at the bottom of this slide, as well as HP, Deutsche Telekom, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, and others. From our work, from time to time, we've found ourselves building developer tools and platforms, and most recently, we've built a tool called Tiggzi Mobile App Builder, which is part of a suite of services that provides platform as a service for mobile developers. We're excited to work with Aepona, and I had the privilege of being in Barcelona at Mobile World Congress, where Andre was participating in the Aepona booth, and we were demonstrating ways to use the Aepona API resources to build apps and to rapidly create an app using the Tiggzi Mobile App Builder environment. So that's essentially all I need to say at this point. If people are ready to sign up for Tiggzi, you can do so at tiggzi.com. That's Tiggzi.com. Now I'm going to hand it over to Andre Glazunov, who will jump into the meat of the presentation.
All right. So let's hand over control to him. Hang on. All right. There we go. Okay, it's all over to you, Andre.
Andre, are you muted? You might want to make unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. My name is Andre Glazunov, and I work at Exadel as a software engineer. And today I will show you the easy way to build a mobile app with in-app billing. It's using Aepona Payment API and Tiggzi. I will build this app just in minutes, and you will be able to test it in on your mobile phone. First, we see now the Tiggzi website, and I'm going to log in here. And we'll start a project. I will create a project from a plugin. It's will be a plugin for Aepona Payment API. Once we import it, we'll have a template project that we will customize for our needs. Okay, let's start. We'll select a mobile app, and we start with the blank app. Let's call it Aepona Payment. We'll add a plugin on this step. Okay, select it, and now we'll create the project. Now you see the Tiggzi is loading. It's a cloud-based IDE. That means that we can access it from any point with the web browser. and the project that we create is also stored in the cloud. So that it's very convenient to access it from everywhere. No need to install anything. Also we have a bunch of collaboration tools built in Tiggzi. So creation of project by multiple persons simultaneously is easy with it. Let me introduce you to the Tiggzi user interface. Just brief introduction. On the left you see the control panel that consists of 3 tabs. The first one is project that has all the project assets. The main sections of it is project node where the project profile is located. In project file, such settings as screen size, the theme that we use, and the default screen are entered. We also see the screens node, where all the pages that our app has are located. The other important node is services, and here all the services that are used for our application are located. What is good about the plugins that we have all the services necessary to work with Aepona API already created and imported. So we don't have to create it ourselves, but we can, of course. But this plugin has just made our lives easier and created it for us. Another one is JavaScript, and here all the custom JavaScript code is located. The other tab is Outline, where we see all the components that we have on the screen. We also have a palette where all components that are available for drag and drop to the screen are located. The central area is the emulator of a mobile screen that contains all the components that we have dropped into it. Also, we have the right panel where the properties for components and events are located. The first thing I will do, I will switch the theme that is currently used by our plugin. I will go to the project profile and select jQuery mobile theme, the black one. Okay, now we have a created template project that we can test right away. We can see what we have got from a template. Okay. We just click the test button, and we see the output in the browser. It's a very convenient feature that makes not necessary to build the binary all the time when we want to test it. We can just click test button and see the result right in our browser. This is this template project is the one that I demoed on Mobile World Congress. It's an imaginary subsystem of a role-playing game like Second Life that allows us to buy avatars for a player. So here we see the list of avatars available for purchase, and let's go through this demo and click one. We pick the urban avatar, and we'll see all the product details and image, and let's buy it. Okay, now it's here. Aepona payment API comes to play. we get the screen from Aepona that Exadel demo application is requesting permission to charge us. It's in sandbox, so no real charge will occur. Just for the demo, I will allow the transaction. Now I need to enter my mobile phone number. Here it is. I click OK, and I will wait for PIN now. Probably you will hear my phone when the message arrives. I've got the PIN. It's 5305. Sorry, 5305. Okay, another step. And we see that the control is returned to our screen, and the payment is processed. And this is the cycle of this template project. Okay, that looks good, but what if we want to make our custom app with our products and customize it just a little bit? Okay, now the first thing that I will do is see where the products list comes from. We have a products list service here, and it is the specification of a REST service that is used for obtaining a products list. We see that here currently the echo mode is used. Echo mode is a special mode for Tiggzi. It's for development purposes when no actual call to web service is occurred. Instead of it, the response is just a text that we have got here. And we see that here the avatars are described. Now I will exit this echo mode and swap it to my web service that returns my actual products. We will create an application that provides an ability to buy ebooks. So I have got a web service here where we can specify a genre of the book, let it be fiction, and got the same items that we have seen, but it will be books. So we swap the URL, and we add a parameter for genre. Okay. The other thing that we will do is to specify the genre we want to use. For example, we go to input parameters and enter fiction. Okay, it's the request mapping. It's another cool feature of Tiggzi where we can select the parameters that we want to customize and either add values for them, or we can map these parameters to the visual components. Like we see in response mapping, the items component are binded to visual control. Way we don't have to write the lines of code to do this task. We just drag and drop, and we see the arrows that appear, and we are able to test it right away. So let's swap the buy and avatars to select an ebook to buy. And let's go test it. Okay. I think we need to actually add one more thing. We return to the product list, and we need to use Tiggzi proxy for it. The thing is that we are testing it in the browser, and browsers have some security rules that don't allow us to call a REST service that is located on another domain directly. So we have a Tiggzi proxy feature that enables us to pass the request through Tiggzi server in order to make it work correctly in browser. It's a development feature, and we need it to for testing purposes. Once we deploy it to mobile, we don't need to use the Tiggzi proxy. But now I check this box, so we will be able to see the results in the browser. Okay, now we see that we have got the books in our box with their prices and their names, but actually I want to add an author here. So the users of my app will see the name of the book and the author of the book. So let's go back. In my web service, I have another parameter that is called author. Here, for example. So what I need to do is to add it to our product list service in the request parameters. In the response parameters. So we go to items, we see all the parameters that we have, and we also add another one called author. So we save it, and now I will use this drag and drop mapping that I have talked about. So I take the author parameter, and I will map it to the component that I will create for an author. So I add it here, name it. Adjust it. I will select slightly gray color, and I also move this a little bit up. So we'll map the author field to the newly created label. Here it is. We just drag and drop to the text property, and I think we are ready. Okay, now we see both name and the author. What if we go to the component? If we go to the book, we see the product ID, description, price, buy button. It works good. Now I will also try to add another screen, which will allow me to select the genre of the book, because my web service actually works with different genres. We have poems, we have fiction, we have history books, and I would like to use this in my app. I will create a new screen. I will add another caption, pick a genre, and I will create a mobile list with 3 items for 3 genres. Let it be fiction first, then history books, and finally poems. I will I will go to Event tab and add a click event, and add 2 actions for it. Firstly, I will remember the choice in the variable, in the local storage variable. The variable will be called genre, and we'll have different values for all the buttons. For fiction, we'll store it fiction, and after we set the variable, we will navigate to the main screen. Main. Okay, and we do the same for all other 2 buttons. We add an event, we set the variable, history, and we navigate to main page. And the same with poems. We can also read this variable from component. For example, if we had an input field, we could click bind to component box, and we would select the component of this text input and the value of its text. Okay, but for now we enter it by hand. Fiction, history, and poems. Okay, we have also multiple transition effects that we can add to when the page is changed from one to another. So we need to go back to main screen, and I want to have an ability to return to the screen of picking the genre, and that's why I will show a footer and add a button that will say pick another genre. Okay, I'm adding click event and navigate to page action, and I navigate to genre screen. Good. The one thing that is left, actually 2 things. One thing is to add another binding for a genre, this time for input parameter. Now you see we have it entered manually, and now we are going to drag and drop it, but not to the component, but for a local storage variable. We bind it together, and now this request parameter will go from a local storage variable. So I need to change the start screen to these genres, so it will be initially shown. I think we are ready to go. If I have done everything right, now we will be able to see the screen for picking the genre. Let's be fiction again. Okay, we see that everything is loaded. Let's try history. Yeah, we see 3 history books. What about poems? Yeah, we have also got this. Let's try to buy something. I will pick up Strange Music by Leonard Cohen. Okay, click buy. Now Aepona services are being invoked. So I click yes. I enter my mobile number once again. I wait for my PIN to arrive. Okay. It's 8814. Now we are waiting to see what is the result, and the payment is processed. What we have just done is we have built our custom app from a plugin. What we can do now? Actually, I can make this preview public, so everyone will be able to test it. I will keep the screen open for a minute, and if you have an Android device, you can scan the upper QR code to launch it in a web browser, and you will be able to test it yourself. So if you want, go ahead and read the QR code from the screen. Meanwhile, I will remind you of two core features that enabled us to test this plugin so quickly. One feature of Tiggzi is using REST services for interacting with various third-party APIs. We can easily add a REST service for any API. We support custom authorization. We support all the request types such as post, get, put, and we have an awesome request and response mapping that makes us able to build an app with a REST service without even writing some JavaScript or any other language code. And feature is plugins that made us possible to build our custom app in just minutes for Aepona payment API with in-app billing system. We didn't have to create all the services to interact with Aepona by ourselves. It was already created. And the only thing that we have done was the swapping of the products and customizing our app in the ways that we want. And I should also tell you that for this demo, the sample credentials were used. If you are building your app, you need to swap the credentials into your Aepona developer credentials. All the instructions are written on the template welcome screen. So here it's written where the credentials are stored and what you should do to build your app. Finally, when you are done creating your application, you can export it. Currently, we can export from Tiggzi to Android binary APK, to Android source code, to iOS source code, or to mobile web. Also, we have an ability to create our own plugin. Soon we will introduce support for Windows Phone and BlackBerry systems, but now we can build the binary very easily. All the process is automatic for Android, and for iOS we can export an Xcode project. That's it. That was our demo, and I hope it was a good demonstration how easily the application with built-in payment system can be created.
Oh, okay, thank you, Andre. Don't go away. Stay on the line. I'm going to switch the presentation of the screen back to me. But otherwise, we can go back to you just in case if we actually really need to. All right. So I'd like to, as we do the questions and answers, I'd like to leave this up so you have all the contact info if you want to follow up later. And it's broken into 3 parts. One part is contact information for Andre, Michael, and David, and also the basic support links for Tiggzi if you want to learn more. So let's start going through some of these questions. Let's see. All right. Okay. Now, some of these questions have actually been answered, but I figure we should bring them up because it's something that occurred to someone while you were talking. One question is does the user need to enter the PIN, a fresh PIN, each time they actually make a purchase? And it seemed from your demo that that's true. Is that true, Andre, or is there some way to set it up differently?
Yes, that's true. Each transaction has a different PIN that is comes to us by text message.
Oh, okay. Another related question is you obviously you have, as a developer, you have to have some kind of credential or something from Aepona in order to set this up, but the user doesn't have to register or anything like that with Aepona, do they, in order to use this service?
Yes, exactly. The developer needs to register within Aepona, but the users that use their application don't need this type of registration. They just use the app.
Now, there are the payment screens that are are there some payment screens that you can't change? I mean, there's a lot of flexibility in Tiggzi to change the screens that are created through Tiggzi, but are there any screens, is there any limit to how much you can actually modify all the different screens associated with the payment process?
You are free to modify you're free to modify
pretty much any screen, or do you?
Yeah, and this is Michael from Aona. The payment panel is actually provided by the service provider. In the case of the demo that Andre just ran through, that was actually Apona's platform that serves the payment panel, and that would vary between service providers. The idea is to make that screen is actually outside the domain of the application. It's similar to a payment panel that you would get during a web transaction where it's redirected to your payment service provider. So that's really under the control of the service provider, that screen.
Well, here's a question we can answer over here in the marketing department. When will the next version of Tiggzi be available? And the answer is tomorrow, right, David?
That's correct.
And what Andre ended on the export screen, and one of the major changes in the version that will be released tomorrow is that there will be an iOS binary build button that will be available. So the ability to make something like this kind of application using the Aepona API, you'll have many more places to actually, it'll be much easier to distribute it to multiple platforms. So we're very excited about that. So stay tuned for some time over, I think it's targeted for about noon U.S. Pacific time. But stay tuned. We'll make a big announcement about it on our blog when it's actually released. Let's see. Let's look for a few more questions. How many network, I'm not sure if I understand, how many network payment providers do you integrate with in DK? I guess that's a question for Michael. Does that question make sense, Michael?
Sorry, I was just coming off mute. What was the last part of the question again? Was there a specific territory or region?
I'm literally reading it off. How many network payment providers do you integrate within DK?
In DK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question, but
oh, okay. The person can.
Well,
Denmark.
The DK. Oh, Denmark. Okay. Well, the main provider in Denmark that we integrate with is TDC.
Oh.
So the Aona platform is deployed within TDC, which is obviously the main service provider in Denmark.
All right. And then here's a question of asking whether the PIN entry screen, that because it's hardwired, right? It does have to. It will always show the Aepona logo, right? Michael.
It will show the service provider logo. So just to be clear, Aepona is not a payments or a service provider. We are a software platform provider that is deployed within many different service providers, network operators and cloud providers. So it's actually the payment API provider that would provide that payment panel, and it would be typically branded with their logo.
Oh, okay, that's very clear. Here's a question about the new release of Tiggzi. Will there be any more special box sets? The phrase is box sets of plugins. Is there any special plugins that would stand out in the?
Great question, and let me frame it by describing the plugin architecture. Essentially, what we've done is provided for components and pieces of code to be reusable, so that first an individual developer or development team can create plugins that are some subset of an application that's been created with Tiggzi and package that for reuse. And we've implemented that in the March 15th release of Tiggzi. Now, since then, and in doing so, we've also made it possible to create plugins that are shared publicly. And we're in the process of populating a plugin catalog. And one of the primary uses we see for such a plugin catalog is along the lines of what you see here with the Aepona API and its pre-mapped, pre-packaged relationships with UI components. So we envision plugins which are services, data-driven components, essentially, services coupled with the UI components that they consume or that they interact with. So that said, we're looking both to our developer community as well as internally here at Exadel to begin populating that services catalog, that plugin catalog, with a variety of data-driven components. And we see that growing week by week starting in the coming days.
Okay. So one way of looking at this webinar is an example of the Tiggzi plugin architecture at work. I mean, if you're just looking at it from a Tiggzi point of view.
Exactly. And one of the first plugins that we'll provide in that plugin catalog will be the Aepona API, the demo that you've seen today, the template that this is based on.
Okay, here's a general question about in the next Tiggzi release that's happening tomorrow. Along with adding new features, are there going to be some increases in the performance of existing features or is it going to be focused mostly on adding new features? Like, for instance, you have to. There are lots of different platforms to make sure that is that part of, I mean, any time you're going to do something like that, but.
Sure. Well, one of the things that we're hearing from developers is that they want a tunable control of the various UI components, that they want not just to be able to drag and drop a component, but then to influence the full set of parameters that are available to tweak that component. And we're now moving toward broader and broader support of the set of parameters. The library we use is, the framework we use is jQuery Mobile, and we are now getting closer and closer working with the jQuery Foundation to move forward with the jQuery Mobile effort to help them meet the needs of our developers, which we believe is needs of developers across the board. So we're looking forward to a very close relationship with jQuery Foundation to improve that framework, as well as an expanded way of accessing the parameters that are currently available in upcoming builds. I can't remember whether tomorrow's build includes that expanded access to parameters of UI components, or whether that's scheduled for the May 15th release.
Okay, we're going to have to wrap up pretty quickly here. We're getting near the end. So here's one more question we can respond to. Here's a question about a specific feature, which is automated generation of IDs in Tiggzi. There are some problems with that. Did you see anything like that in the list for tomorrow?
I don't recall whether that's, I've seen that on the list. I don't recall if that's in tomorrow's build.
Okay. So I'd like to wrap things up now and thank everyone for attending this. We know that everyone is, people are busy, and we really appreciate people taking an hour out of their busy days to listen to us talk about Tiggzi and Aepona and Exadel. So thanks a lot for showing up. I'd just like to leave the screen up for another few seconds in case you want to note this down. And also, I'd like to remind you that this is being recorded, so if you want to, and the recording will be available through GoToMeeting, and then we'll also post it on YouTube, and all registrants will be notified of how to contact them, how to find that. And I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Charlie Cows. I work at Exadel too, in the marketing department, and I'm just going to shut things down, and I'd like to thank Michael, Andre, and David for joining us today also to present to people, and thank you and goodbye.
Amen.